Welcome to the video. I'm Dodo. I'm a League of Legends coach currently coaching TDS, where we promoted into the LFL, and I currently at least top 2 at Coup de France, playing against Gamers Origin in the finals on the 1st of November. I haven't reviewed for some time, at least not on YouTube, and I'm really happy to do it again, especially starting with a fantastic series or game like G2 against Damon, hopefully. So, I'm probably getting ganked IRL, but it's fine. Just try to start the recording, and I just got an important call. Okay, G2 against Damon. Why am I hyped? Because G2 has always been a very interesting team, and for me as a big EU fan, of course, I'm a fan of G2 as well. Also, G2 was one of the teams in LEC that we were not able to scrim, sadly. So I really don't know what they're going to play. Of course, they like scrimming in Korea now, obviously. Okay, so let's just jump right into the series. I hope you're hyped as well. And as always, by the way, we do this review live on stream. So if you have any ideas you would like me to talk about it in review, just join the stream. When I go live, check out my Twitter, Discord, where I will always notify you. And yeah, let's jump into the game. Caitlyn ban is something that is a little bit of a question mark to me, because it's really hard for me yet to still see to understand how strong she is. We've not seen her too much in EU just yet, and I haven't seen her doing Worlds yet either. So for me, that is a bit of a question mark. Nico is interesting. Jarvan ban is something that is a little bit more normal, at least for the meta EU was in. But for me, that might mean, is there like any sort of option that you're picking like a very low mobility champion early on if you go for the Jarvan ban, or is it something you want to do in general? Kalista against Hansama, not too big of a surprise here. A lot of teams have previously banned Kalista against Hansama next to the Traven, so that might be something that might be banned out as well. I'm really wondering what G2 is currently prioritizing in terms of B1s. Lee Sin ban, okay, against an Asian team makes a lot more sense, and then Cassandra, right? So, a few jungle bans, Caitlyn, right? So for me, right now, the B1s that we've really been seeing at Worlds, okay, is there's still Renekton, there was a lot of Talia, there was actually a huge amount of Xayah, a little bit of Rakan, right? But Xayah Kaiser has been traded quite a lot. And for me, Caitlyn ban might already kind of result into going for something more like Xayah B1, which I don't think is too characteristic of G2 though. But that is something that we might see with the Caitlyn ban. Outside of that, Cassandra ban for me kind of moves to the idea that Dalman thinks G2's gonna pick something outside of Renekton, and then Dalman might just end up picking it up for themselves. Okay, Talia and Renekton are both open though. So I really would be surprised to see Xayah being picked B1. Because if Xayah is picked B1, it does open up Damwon to go for Renekton plus Talia, right? So what I really reckon to happen here is G2 either knocking Renekton themselves, oops, or G2 just picking Talia, right? These are the two things I think that are going to happen here. Or something completely different. Orianna is something we've seen a little bit, and she works quite well against Talia in mid, right? So she does take some flex value away from Talia because you really don't want to pick it into Orianna. And I know some teams actually have really high priority on control mages. For me, with champions like Renekton and Talia up, if you end up going Orianna first, for me that kind of says that you don't mind playing into them, and that you have some decent answers for them. Because you obviously don't think they're as big power picks as other teams think. And of course, while Orianna is really, really strong, it is still a control mage. It is still a champion you can fairly easily just match. Right? You're still going to give them the better champion, right? Orianna is still the better control mage. But picking, for example, Syndra into Orianna is something we've seen a lot, especially during Coup de France. Right? So what LFL teams played. And it seemed fairly decent. Although, of course, at that level of play, lane differences might be bigger because people are, of course, a lot better at laning. Okay, I never would have expected that, though. Right, so Talia Renekton is still open. You end up banning Cassandra, and you just go Alistair plus Azir? What the heck is going on? Alright, so this is really, really interesting. right? Rel is also still open, which is usually the pick we would have seen instead, right? Just Rel, potential flex pick, also still one of the better supports, and I don't think she got that hard nerves, honestly. Wait, let me quickly check over patch 1320. Because maybe I'm wrong, but I still believe Rel to be insanely strong. Yes, she didn't get any nerfs on 1320 specifically. So I wonder why you would ever go Alistair over Rel, right? Because Alistair, in a way, does something really well, and that is peel, right? Alistair is probably one of the best supporters right now in terms of peeling. But Rel is a flex pick. It is more versatile in terms of gameplay, and she has a stronger laning phase, right? So in terms of melee supports, Rel wins most matchups. Maybe you're scared of G2 picking Alistair, because Alistair Orianna is a good combination, and of course, Orianna potentially already with quite high range. So G2 might be more interested in picking a more sort of peeling support, but really interesting to just see the Alistair pick. And the Azir match is also something we've not really seen too much in EU just yet. Right? Azir was a champion with very high priority, but especially the control mage traits we've seen in EU were Orianna and Syndra. Right? Sometimes a little bit of Victor, but very little Azir actually. Okay, we're getting some message in the chat. I mean, Dalman just doesn't want to win with these two picks now. I don't know. Like, for me, it's still hard to say. But for me, that doesn't seem that good. Because the problem that I have with that is while Alistair and Azir do offer some form of engage, it's not the easiest engage against outranging targets. So what I would like G2 to do is honestly just move towards a direction of, hey, let's look to outrange, / let's look to make sure we have a sort of kite back composition. So what I'm kind of moving towards is I just be thinking about like Rel Xayah potentially, right? Renekton is an option if you want to just pick that up. Ezreal Poppy we see in the chat. Ooh, Draven. Okay, Draven can work, right? You could just look for something like Poppy as well. Sure, that could work out, right? But some form of receive, some form of outrange could be a good idea. Here we just see though that G2 just says, well, fuck you, we're just going to destroy your bot lane. Draven a pretty good champion against Alistair, of course, because he can cancel his dash, although Alistair against Draven is just going to look to flash Q. And Maokai, right? So Maokai is something that makes more sense in the sort of idea of kiting back and outranging. Right? Maokai is really, really good at just kiting back. And while Draven doesn't really have the highest range, for me as Damon, you're really interested in securing yourself an engage tool. And for me, these engage tools are probably referring to something you can pick in jungle. I don't know if you really want to go Sejuani here, but these are the picks I'll be thinking of. Or, of course, there's the option of going Nocturne, which I feel like is actually fairly good here already. I feel like Nocturne is a fairly good champion here. But I'm not sure if Nocturne is just like a Western pick. Varus. Really interesting and very, very different to what we've seen in the rest of the series just so far. Right, we saw so much Kai'Sa, we saw so much, although you obviously don't want to play Kai'Sa into Draven too much. And we saw so much Xayah, but here we just see Draven Insta-lock. Although it is against Alistair, right? And we see the Varus answer into it. Very, very interesting. Although, of course, I've not been following too much LP and LCK throughout this year. I like Varus. Yeah, Varus into Draven is not a bad lane. Right? You can still sort of match. You do have decent range. And it's not like G2 is that tanky as of right now. You can ban some top laners that are like fairly tanky against you here. And G2 is, of course, just going to look to ban engage jungles. Right, so the Vi, I'm wondering if you're just going to ban Sedge anyway. I don't know if Sejuani's that good, but she does have fairly good engage. I'd be thinking about Nocturne though. I personally do believe that Nocturne is very, very strong. G2 decides to end up banning Rumble though, right? So what does that mean? Well, obviously G2 is going to pick a top laner here, blind pick. That is going to be weak against Rumble. So I'm wondering if G2 is still like just moving towards Renekton here. So G2 might just be moving towards Renekton here. Then it's kind of a curveball to Damon. Are we just going to pick Renekton here? Do we need to? I don't think you do. I don't think Renekton is the best choice for you either. Renekton is fairly tanky, but probably not the best idea. Oh, Rel is still open as engage. But I still prefer Nocturne, I think. Maybe even Sedge, because range engage here is fairly good. Ooh, okay. It's still just Rel. Okay, interesting. But if you, like, that obviously means though, right? That you're really scared of Alistair Orianna. Is Alistar Orianna that broken? Pick the Popstar? It's not that bad even, right? So you could definitely argue for some Poppy top lane. I don't know if you've seen the match, Deletos, but Poppy can work. I really wouldn't mind just psychopathing it on something like Olaf as well, although of course, or these sort of champions like Eastern top laners usually play can be a bit annoying for that. But that could work out. Let me quickly think if there's like anything. I mean, there's something crazy in support and it's just called Canna. There's something really crazy in support and it's called Zyra. But I don't think we're gonna see those champions. Same thing with Soraka. Well, actually it's a Mikyx, we might just see it. Okay, just Renekton. Alright, okay, so this we knew, right? Rumble ban does make it fairly obvious. Although, of course, Rumble is also good against other top laners. I mean, Renata is basically the non-chat version of Janna, but that is okay. I'm fine with the non-chat version of Janna. I'm really wondering, by the way, if Geo coaching staff is gonna check out my videos to get like a decent feeling on my drafting. Before they realize that I just can't draft. Yes. They just go Jace? So Damwon just decided, hey, we're just gonna go poke. Honestly though, that ain't bad. Because look at what G2 did, right? So G2 thinking, well, we're gonna have a fairly decent chance of... I mean, Jace top lane sucks, but... they don't have that much high range. They don't have outrange. We're currently outranging with Orianna, securing themselves strong bot lane matchup. Because Draven against Alistar, no matter what you pick an AD carry, you're still gonna be in a really good spot for Draven. Because Alistar does not have the strongest laning phase. And then securing yourself Maokai, very strong champion overall, securing yourself good front and back. The big problem that G2 does have though, is that by locking Renekton and by locking Renata as they do here, they're locking on engage themselves. They're lacking, not locking, right? They're lacking a little bit of engage. You've got Maokai ult, but that's sort of it. So unless you're able to get onto position on objective first, it's not going to be the easiest for you to contest. Right? So by going, for one, going Varus, right? But also going Jace now, Damwon does counter what G2 did, and that is not picking enough engage tools. So in a way, it's really smart, even the Jace pick, right? Theoretically. Although, in my opinion, you can always argue that Jace top lane kind of sucks. But as you just said, Deleters, it is an LCK top laner on Jace, so it's a little bit different. Of course, I'm biased by EU. And EU, to me, means if you pick Jace top lane and you're not like a few handful of players, you're going to run it down. What does this game mean, though, for me? Well, honestly, for me, G2 is on a fairly big timer now. Because even if you have very strong early game as G2, well, I mean, bot lane definitely is going to be significantly stronger. Orianna with decent vision setup and some little bit of hover by Maokai should be fairly safe, even against Jolazir. Or at least to be able to make sure she can clear the wave and then sort of like half shift towards bot. And you still have Renekton, right? I don't want to say Renekton is broken, but Renekton is still fairly strong. This champion is still fairly strong. Outside of AP top laners, right? Against AP top laners, he doesn't really enjoy his time that much anymore. Or Rumble. Even bigger problem than before. Or like Canna. But G2 now actually needs to utilize the strong laning phase because late game, Damwon will or DK will have a lot of range with Varus, with Jace, a lot of wave clear as well. But G2 does not have the best engage tools. So G2 needs to do two things, okay? Number one, stack objectives. Why do we need to stack objectives? Because number one, we're gonna get outscaled, right? So we want them to contest us. Number two, because Soul can be a win condition, and while I haven't seen a game, I know G2 won, and apparently G2 won because of Soul diff. Makes sense, right? Because you need Soul as a way to sort of bridge your scaling, and number two, Soul in a way forces the enemy team to fight you. And the problem with not having a lot of engage or sieging tools is that the second the enemy team doesn't want to fight you, it's not that easy for you to punish them. Of course, Maokai can die fairly easily, right? With the ult from like a flank angle, but still not the easiest. What do I want to see then? Well, I want to see two things, okay? I want to see G2 look to Giga abuse bot lane, and the way you Giga abuse bot lane is especially, of course, making sure enemy jungle can't contest, but not just making sure that Canyon can't contest bot, but also making sure that Canyon can't really contest mid that easily, okay? Of course, Damo knows that, right? So what do I want to do? Well, first of all, if possible, I want to unlock my mid laner to make sure, because I have fairly good engage threat onto Orianna with Rel and Azir if G2 does not place proper vision, or G2 doesn't respect. And I want to make sure that I stop G2's early game snowballing by either matching and making sure they don't get anything major out of it, or potentially getting other plays in case they can't dive me, right? So for me, the big question is, okay, where are the dives going to happen? Because right now, I'm not that sure about Maokai jungle pathing. Why am I not that sure? Because, for one, of course, I'm looking into potentially diving bot lane, but what I'm just currently thinking a little bit about with all of the nerfs to sustain, like in terms of second wind and potion, like the old nerfs, does Renekton survive against Jason lane without getting dove a lot of times? That I'm currently actually unsure about, because I've not seen a lot of Jace top lane, and I've definitely not seen good Jace top lane. In case Jace can threaten dives with Rel, then it makes a lot of sense for Maokai to clear up. In case your top laner says, well, I'm fine, then of course you can move down, make sure your Draven lane is fine, and then look to threaten bot lane for dives yourself. I actually believe, though, that Renekton potentially just gets dove. So I try to make sure that I probably just pad up. And I think I need to move my cam up to make sure I don't block sponsors. So Riot can't be unhappy with me, I hope. And in case, by the way, there's a Rioter watching and you're unhappy with me, please do let me know, okay? I don't mind adapting the way I do these reviews. Just don't ban me, thank you. Okay. Damon goes for the ward on Raptors. So Yike decides to go in red to show that he's pathing towards top lane a little bit later. Makes a lot of sense. And of course, Damon realizing, well, first of all, we can potentially look to dive top lane. And number two, our bot lane should probably still be safe enough to not get dove. Oh, wait, never mind. It's going completely different. We're just gonna Giga explode from the earth. Ooh, okay, never mind. I didn't say shit. I thought this is gonna be like a slower early game of making sure your Renekton is fine and then looking to Dragon Stack. Nope, it's not. It is the other way of making sure you maintain winning lane states. And that is the chill strat. And that is fisting enemy jungle level 1, level 2, level 3. Making sure both of you are useless. Why do I call it the shield strat? Because in my opinion, Sheer was the best European jungler at doing that. Especially in Spring Split, right? Every game we saw Shio in games where he had winning lane states / outscale. Although, more importantly, winning lane states. In terms of push, in terms of control, Leon, just walk to enemy jungle and just fight. Why is that good? Well, because you're already winning. For me, Orianna is definitely winning against Azir. Both in terms of scaling, because I think Orianna scales really, really well. And in terms of push, outside of her being threatened by ganks, obviously, right? But if Rel can't gank, then that's good for you. And if your top laner can't get controlled that easily, that's also a good idea. Wait, Jace actually gets pushed in. It seems like I have a wrong understanding of top lane. I've not seen too much Jace. Okay? So that is my bad. I thought Jace actually gets control in the Renekton lane early on already. It seems like I'm wrong. Right? This is also a learning moment for me. Especially in terms of like these range top laners. We've not seen that much. Right, so we do the shield strat here, making sure both junglers are useless. Great. Right, you're really making sure your bot lane, number 1, can't get threatened. Number 2, can just push the lead without having to care that much. Okay, never mind. It looks like top lane is not going that well though. Oh, you can crash? Okay, you can crash. Okay, never mind. It's fine. It is okay. It's a slow push to BrokenBlade now. But it looks like BrokenBlade just went for push to make sure that... I don't know really why he went for push, because in a way, like the way say, if Canna can hold it a little bit better, is very scary. But I know BB is a really smart player, so I reckon he wants top lane to bounce later. Especially considering your level 1 play, right? If you end up giving Jace the push, Rel should have a pretty easy chance to look for a potential dive attempt before Maokai can look to defend it, I guess. So maybe that's the idea of looking to push early, trying to crash it, or at least securing yourself the bounce. So Rel doesn't really have a good option to gank you. For me, it's just really, really scary if BB did not get the chance of crashing the cannon minion, dash the casters to the point where, of course, gets hit by the turret. By the way, in case anyone is here that doesn't understand a few things that I talk about, please do just let me know in chat. I don't mind talking about anything more in depth, but I, of course, don't want to repeat concepts that everyone here already knows. Right, so in terms of wave management or whatever. Right, because here, we just secure ourselves the bounce, make sure we don't lose that much. Now, BB is really, really happy. And that should work out just fine. Interesting, by the way, that Yike is going for a red smite and first strike in these sort of games. Usually we've seen that a lot more as Maokai with in games where you already had a fairly strong frontline. I reckon you don't have a very strong frontline in that game, but you're sort of playing poke. It doesn't necessarily... like phase charge, like these sort of runes probably don't make that big of a difference, honestly. So it does make sense, it does make sense. What ended up mid lane, I think we just saw a trade as he gets pushed early on. I don't know when it changes exactly in terms of the matchup. I reckon it kind of changes on like 3 or 4 points, like in Q. On Orianna, for Orianna to get like sort of push against Azir. / Lost Chapter when you actually have the mana to like just Q the wave. Like if you can just QW either wave, I think Orianna should for sure get pushed. Right, so Azir will just continue to get control here, which is completely fine. Because what do we want to do as G2? Well, maintain bot lane side, honestly. Make sure Orianna doesn't get one shot. Because for me as down one, if I can't look to accelerate the game for top, I really want to make sure I get control from mid. Why do I want to make sure I get control from mid? Well, because I definitely can't contest bot lane by just going there. And there's going to be a very, very big problem if I can't unlock mid lane, because 3 vs 3, you're not going to win. Right? And the matchup is not that easy. That's kind of the problem of just picking Alistar. Like, we as TDS know what happens. Like, we got, like, one game we lost in playoffs, we blind picked Alistar, enemy team went Ashe support, and we just did not enjoy our time. We did not enjoy our time. We're creating some more some vision from mid lane again. Want to make sure that our Rihanna does not get played upon. And honestly, I just really like to start dragon stacking right now. So if we can just crash the wave, look to walk into enemy jungle, see that Rel isn't there, and just start Drake, I'd be very happy about that. I'd be very happy about that. Ah, I guess you're looking to play on bot lane bounce? And for me, this is so slow. Like, it's so hard to find anything here. I really would have liked to just crash the wave and just look to play Drake. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. Like, I did my DID too much. Like, G2 is really trying to bait. But there's no way they should ever walk in. Varus does not have that much mana. You're behind in items. There's no way you're really going to look for an engage here. I really would not have minded. G2 just looking to crash the wave into dragon attempt. It's also fine, of course, if G2 decides to freeze to make sure you get a lead. But for me, this sort of gold lead doesn't necessarily matter as much as potentially dragon stacking. Although, I don't know yet how G2 approaches the idea of dragon stacking, of when they want to look to go for drakes. But here, the Yike is just wasting a little bit of time. Of course, this general economy doesn't matter as much. And looking for a gank is not that bad. But I really would have liked to just start already moving towards dragon stack ASAP. Now it's just going to do it, right? Okay, now G2 just goes to the push. Alright, so they're basically saying, doing what I said. Except they try to bait Damwon into going for a potential bad play, which didn't end up working out. And that is exactly what we were talking about, right? Damwon really wants to make sure they get onto Orianna, and they even take a flash. So let me quickly check if that is a mistake by Caps. Caps is hard posturing towards bot. I mean, Showmaker's playing like pretty perfectly on the edge. It's really, really hard. It's really, really hard, right? But something we already knew from draft that is what Damwon is gonna look and try to do. Get some extra information onto enemy rel again, right? You want to maintain your lane states, and now without Orianna flash, it starts to get even more scary. Ooh. Oh! Yike out. Why the fuck did Yike outsmite it? Oh no. Yike outsmited? Nah, she would not have gotten outsmited. She would have gotten that Scuttle Crab, I'm telling you. Right, okay, first dragon, next is Chemtech. I know it ends up being an Ocean Soul, right? But with Chemtech Dragon, you're already very happy because for me, it's the most useless soul. Especially against a team that outranges you. Getting Cloud Drake ain't even that bad. Like, Cloud Soul is actually fairly good when you're getting outranged. Because the biggest problem you have is getting into the range. All of the champions on Damwon's side are just gonna get Giga one-shot if they're walking into the range of the blue side team. Canna a little bit ahead in CS, but honestly the matchup does not look that crazy for yeah, like, the matchup honestly does not look that crazy for Jace. So maybe we were correct in the first assumption that we had about, well, even if it's Eastern Jace, it is still a Jace top lane. G2 is really trying to bait. G2 is really looking to play for these baits. They already did it, but they did it right now here. They're playing really on the edge, trying to bait the enemy team into going for these mistakes. Like psychopath behavior, but it's really enjoyable to watch. Ooh. Ooh. The Draven or buff. How much gold is it? Am I blind or did it just not show? It did not show. I'm depressed. It's fine. It's okay. For no reason, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Man, how much gold was it? But yeah, I mean, you banned Khaleesi over Draven? Okay. 600 gold? Well, 600 gold is pretty nice, is it not? Look, top score. Oh, wait, I'm too stupid. You're actually so smart. I mean, to be fair, the top score gold is usually bugged on Spectate. But yeah, it makes sense to just check there. Like, it's the best thing I can check at least. But it's like... Wait, is Herald being taken like this exact same second? Or is this 1200 gold? Because look, 600? 600? Am I stupid? For me, this looks like 1200 gold. I mean, of course, this assist gold is like going into it as well, right? It's first blood. I guess first blood plus assist gold is like 600 and then like 600 bounty. A huge amount of gold, at least. A huge amount of gold. We get Herald. Where we're gonna use it? I mean, the fairly obvious answer is to just look to use it towards Herald, obviously. To use it towards Herald. It's my first. It's one of my first streams back. I'm sorry, guys. Most likely just gonna use it towards mid, I reckon, because you don't want to just take away laning phase away from bot lane, right? You want to continue bot lane laning phase. So probably you're just gonna look to move towards double heralding mid. I'd be interested though if G2 is actually interested, or does it sometimes, to just get a turret ASAP to just look to swap. To just maximize the gold economy. Like, considering you don't have the best siege, red side is fairly good and fairly good wave clear. I reckon it's just gonna be double herald towards mid. I feel like that's just the easier way to do it. Although I actually think just heralding bot lane and then just moving towards top side again is actually fairly viable. But I'm a little bit biased because for some reason, whenever we played against K-Corp and they got herald, they just heralded bot lane and They took a bot lane turret, they reset, and they just dove us mid. So maybe I'm biased. Huh? Ooh, okay, because of the kill, we're actually using the top. So G2 is actually using the Herald to just further economy? Is G2 doing it based on item spikes? Or what is G2 basing it on? Because it makes sense to not Herald bot lane. But it looks like G2 actually very heavily prioritizes gold. Because the usual map state way to play with Herald, especially with these sort of compositions that G2 plays right now, is to just double Herald mid. I'm not sure if it's that good to just put the gold into Renekton here. I don't know if it's that good. I think I actually just prefer double Herald towards mid. But it is perfect gold for Gold Drinker, so maybe that is the reason. Maybe that is the reason. I'm really wondering, because I know some recent teams played Herald into bot lane specifically for AD carry item spikes. Right? I've seen LPL and LCK do that. I'm wondering if G2's main reason was not just, okay, well, this is like most gold economy we can get out of this Herald right now, because we just killed Jace. So we can just look to go for like those 3 platings or whatever it was. Or maybe it's also just based on the fact that Renekton just gets item spike. Because, of course, item spike on Renekton is fairly big. And with fairly big, I mean it's really, really big. Renekton with early Gold Drinker can just 1v2. And can just easily dive as well. Yeah, well, I mean, not that easily. Not full HP Jace, but honestly like 70% Jace. Not sure. Not sure about what. Deletos, you know, I say way too much. You gotta be more specific about what you're unsure about. About heralding top lane here? Yeah, exactly, right? I'm also unsure, but G2 must have a reason for it. So that's why I'm thinking a little bit, okay, what is the reason why they go for it? And then, based on that reason, we can sort of decide, is it good or is it bad? But you just get like first turret here. Because I personally also just like double heralding mid. Like, it's the easier way to play. I'm just not sure if it's a better way. I got ganked IRL, I'm sorry about that. And my door got get closed. Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. If this was planned, it's insane. I guess if they knew that they were gonna get mid-move, then dive top, then on the ghost spike to get first turret, is for sure worth. I don't know if they knew about the mid lane move too much, but they definitely, like, I reckon they talked about the gold trinket spike. But now it's not easy to contest this Drake. So of course G2 in a way is interested about the dragon's decking, right? But G2 is really massively playing for gold here. Yeah, well, actually, do you even lose this Drake here for sure? Because you do have item spikes. Like, you've got rifles on Draven. Ooh, but it's a really good engage. Oh, it's a really, really good engage. Damn. Why is he saying Showmaker Playmaker? It's Kenyan and Ellis engaging and Showmaker just press Q ult. Relax, bro. Why do they care so much about this Drake? I'm not sure either. I mean, in a way, because you're really interested in like dragon stacking. If you can. But this is not a comfortable fight position, right? We've already talked about it during draft, right? We really want to be in a position where the enemy team has to engage onto us. Then we're fairly happy. But yeah, I personally don't, I think going for this Drake is a bit greedy as well. Maybe they thought they can go for it anyway because they have the item spike. But if you have to move in like that and you can't use your tools just to peel your Draven, then I'm fairly uncertain if the Draven spike really matters, right? If you just get one shot, of course your Draven can't deal damage. Xerath is up in 1 minute. And you did lose a lot of gold here, like just getting killed like that. And he did not see Alistair. So of course, really good engage by Kellin, but very greedy. You really have to make sure you get this herald though, because without this herald here, I don't think there's ever going to be a way for you to get this mid you want. So G2's just going to move in. Makes sense. I mean, they're heading gold, they're first in position, right? So it should be there. It's like unrealistic for Damwon to really contest it here. And this herald is just going to move towards, like, just going to go towards mid. I reckon they're just going to use it before next Drake as another tool to look to set up the dragon position, right? Just chill with the herald. You've got 4 minutes to place it anyway, and then like 1 wave before Drake spawns, just place it onto mid. Huh? They just use it on the turn? Okay, never mind. G2 is playing way faster than I'm used to. G2 is not waiting for that Drake. G2 is not waiting for that Drake. They're just going for it. But I don't know if that's good. By the way, Jason to Rennen is good, but he needs to rush tabbies from earlier. You mean the J side? I mean, for me, every matchup into Renekton, you'd really like to rush Ninja tabbies. With maybe the exception of Jax. I don't think Jax really needs to. I think Jax rushing Sandra makes sense, but... like, I feel like most of the matchups where you play into Renekton, you'd really like to just get Ninja tabbies. G2 decides to go for the high tempo play of just... of course, they have got a roam timer, right? So they can look to go for a play here. They're in a better position for this play. But this only ends up as one Herald play anyway. I mean, I guess you get a TP. And maybe you should get position for Drake anyway. So maybe you don't like need to use the Herald as like an extra tool for you to get control of Herald. But I don't think this did that much. But he did get TP. And the higher you get, of course, the bigger TP difference is basically, right? The more of an advantage you can look to play out of the TP advantage. Because in the end, TP is just another resource. But G2 is playing really fast. G2 is playing really, really fast. Oh! Okay, never mind. Yeah. We get control. Bell is looking to just make sure that his Z is fine. Looking to just continue to scale up. G2 always does 1x1 plays in perma pressure. It's highest tempo team from us. Yeah, for sure. Like, they're just going for it. But I'm not sure if I like it that much. Right, so I guess mid lane turret is like now decently chunked anyway. So you probably don't even need to use double herald for it, right? But if you just double heralded mid, you'd still be in a very, very good position to just continue to play from mid into side lanes. If you waited with the herald here, then Z still has TP, sure. That they could of course try to use to get like some place to get back into the game. But you might be able to get to a spot where you can take mid lane turret with the herald. No, actually mid lane turret is still like fairly healthy, right? So this is the interesting thing about G2. Like as you just said, they go 1x1 plays. I'm wondering if it's like that. I mean, obviously they have a reason to do it, right? And they just play it in the moment. But I'm wondering if that is that beneficial with the comp they have here in this game. And of course, this is a G2 thing. Like, if you're any other team here from EU, you just double herald mid this game because it's 10 times easier to play the game. It's 10 times easier to play the game here with just double herald towards mid. Not saying that what G2 does is wrong, but I feel like if you're any other team, you should just double herald mid. And that is without me fanboying G2, that is with me thinking that G2 is probably the best team in the EU in terms of playing with their spikes and actually trying to snowball the game. Ooh, that is like fairly deep, but Draven is just too strong here. Draven! Oh man, I love Draven so much. This champion is so much fun to watch. This champ is so much fun to watch, and they just insta TP towards mid. Why do they insta TP towards mid? Huh? Wait. Huh? Like, G2 is playing so fast, and I don't understand if it's actually that good. Like, hero play, of course you can argue, right? Depends on your priorities. I don't know about the herald that captures, about the TP that captures it towards mid. What did that do? So now you just don't have TP for side lane. What did you get? You got like 1.5 waves. Varus didn't get the base as early. But if Varus base is early, it doesn't really matter, right? His team isn't on the map. I think it was just a mistake. Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a mistake. But if I'm watching G2, like, I'm thinking twice if it's a mistake by them or if they actually had a reason for it. Like, this for me is 100% like a mistake, but I still want to think about it for a second, because maybe I'm wrong. Like, one thing I try to do in reviews is never take anything as granted. Because otherwise it's, like, very easy to miss, like, certain things. Because now, yeah, I mean, I really don't like not having TP anymore. Well, that I'm fairly certain about that. I don't think it was a good play. If I'm Raptor Croc, well, I think. Wait, let me check. Probably. And it's a really... I mean, I could check in base, technically, right? I could just review from base in the future. Like, maybe for the important games, we're just going to review in base. Like, with the replay files. So it's, like, easy for us to check. He did farm Raptor Croc as well, but... Like, are you... Like, do you need to be that... Like, do you need to be that fast on the map? Like, in a way, you fix bot lane, right? You don't need to... You don't really need to have teleport if you can easily just fix a side and move into mid. But is that what you anticipated, or is that just a result of them making the mistake? That's the thing I can't tell right now. Because G2 still gets a turn onto mid lane here. Right? They still get to play mid lane here together, so it's not that bad. If you can get decap ASAP, it's nice, debatable if it's better. Yeah. But you could have also just reset, move towards mid, you drop like one wave and you have TP. You could also just drop like the one wave and then open Raptor stones and you basically is like nearly as fast. But yeah, I mean, Cannon is way too deep. Kellin is way too deep. I've heard G2 through at Nash. That's it, right? I heard G2 through at Nash. Is that it? I saw the tweet by Guluma. G2 through at Nash. Oh, no. Okay, they really did. They really did. Clueless? Yeah. Like, G2 really does not give a shit. Like, honestly, I've got respect. I respect that G2 does not give a shit. I respect it. Like, G2 is not afraid. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. They just fucking go for it. Hello, welcome to the stream, bro. How are you doing? I'm doing great. We're gonna look to finish and wrap up this review. And then we're gonna look to coach Deletus. But that's gonna be chill coaching. Okay, well, turns out G2 is not in the best position anymore, right? We've been talking that Damwon or DK does have fairly good scaling. G2 really tries to catch people, by the way. G2 really tries to catch people. It feels like 2019 G2 all over again. Yeah. Nice attempt here, but still alone is just not... Especially if you... I mean, honestly, this is just Hansama int. This is just a Hansama int, man. Hansama is just greeting so much for some damage. I mean, I guess he's like playing to like E... Oh no, wait. He just tried to E-Rel, but he got stunned by Nash. I mean, in a way, that is a little bit unlucky. Actually, in a way, that is a little bit unlucky. It's still really greedy, but in a way, it's a little bit unlucky. Oh, he got stunned by Nash. Oh my, stupid. Oh no no. Well, and he gets one shot. GG. And I guess that's the advantage of not going boots on Jace, because now Jace has 3 items. Well, that is a little bit scary. And this is basically the problem we've been talking about earlier. G2 does not have the engage tools to really get onto like a really high range composition like Diamond ended up drafting. So the Varys was really smart in the end, honestly. And even though I really hate Jace, top lane by the way, I really hate it. Like, I'm really biased against it. If Jace gets the 3 items like this, champion is really scary. Like, he's just gonna go short in next item and we'll have 2 Qs for every E? Nah, that is really scary. I'm wondering if BB is just gonna hard play for flank here. Because otherwise it's really hard to get onto the backline, but Diamond plays it really slow. I mean, it's an LCK team, so not a surprise there. I'm not sure if I liked Kellin's position. Okay. Okay, he's going through pit. Okay. Right, let me recheck that. Let me check that again. Am I happy with how the teams played? Like, Kellin is looking to play for flank again. Do you need to? Like, I'm actually just wondering, is G2's engage? Like, do you still need to go for flanks to win? Because what I'm just wondering about is, can't you just stand here and just look to poke really aggressively? Do you need to care? Because I honestly feel like you don't need to care if you just sit there together. Like, Diamond is playing this really safe and really slow. I don't think they need to. I think they can legit just 5-man and just look to poke. But it's fine. And losing this dragon here is not that big of a problem just yet. But Diamond doesn't really have that high DPS, so... yeah, well, it can be a little bit scary, actually. And the Ocean Sword is gonna be really, really scary for them, actually. I don't know if I'm biased towards the U teams, but I feel like the U teams do a really good job at allowing their control mages to fix side lane. I still need to check the other games because right now I only watch like BDS in Worlds doing this control mage meta. But G2 has been really doing a really good job at allowing control mages to farm side lane. Ocean Soul best soul by far this game, no, for G2. Out of the souls you could have gotten, yes. I still think Hextech is the best soul in the game. I think there's very few spots where Hextech is just not the best. Because I think Hextech soul is just mega broken. I think if you teamfight well and if you space well, the slow is just way too big. But Ocean Soul definitely after Hextech for me. Yeah, I think it's after Hextech for me. But I'm really biased. And I'm not saying that my opinion necessarily is correct. I'm really biased. I think Hextech is giga broken. I don't even care about stats. I'm just that biased. Okay. Nash is up in 130. Let me quickly check how they played side lane. So here, teams have been really looking to allow their champions to fix side lane a little bit more easily. G2 insert fixes bot. Moves towards mid. Tries to use the timer. G2 is sort of playing for like a pixel rush in a way. They don't commit to it because Diamond is insta playing on the mid lane wave. But G2 is really trying to move to regain control of these areas before they play onto mid, it seems like. Of course, when you play against poke compositions, you can't easily just show onto mid lane, obviously. Against a lot of poke, it's just insane here. Ocean Soul, yeah, for sure. Right, of course, it makes sense for G2, by the way, to move like here against poke composition. I'm wondering if it's just poke composition, so let's kind of check how G2 opens. Like, I'm really interested in that. They fix side lane again. They shift towards mid. Renekton gets sort of zoned off a little bit. Just ends up going for the reset here. I'm wondering if he has item. No, he's just going for stoppage first. They don't have any TP angles just now. you sort of have one. Maybe you can just look to go for a TP angle here, if you really want to. I think Renekton is looking for it, actually. Maybe looking for a potential move. Otherwise, you can look to go for the TP wards here anyway. If that one ends up going deep. But that one does not want to commit their last sweeper to recheck mid lane. I guess I don't think there's a ward there. Oop! That is a Renekton TP. No? Nope. Nope. And the ward is gone. I mean, why am I talking, by the way, too much that much about Renekton TP? For me, G2 really needs to get a flank. And it's really hard to get a flank without deeply fixing side lane or looking for a TP. Right? Because the second you fix side lane, Damwon is going to look to pressure Nash. And then the second you TP, if they can, they're just going to run out. And they just do that again when you don't have TP anymore. And Renekton TP, for me, is like the most important thing. Wait, and they just get it here, right? Because you're on reset timer. It's rough. This game is really, really hard to play now. We've been talking about G2 really being on the timer here. And DK just gets Nash. What does Nash mean? Well, Nash means a few things. Well, outside of you get more stats, it's also easier to get control of lanes because of minions, obviously. Right? And it's easier to fix side lanes as well. Or rather, it's harder for the enemy team to clear your baronified minions on side lane. And G2 really wants to get the side lane push, right? Why? Because Renekton wants to get a flank. Right? Renekton really wants to be able to get a flank. So look how BB moves. Really smart actually for him to move outside for like a second in case someone checks and then look to move in again. Right? Really smart by him. But you're just gonna wait here as BB. Right? You're just gonna wait here, maybe even like completely wrap around if you can. Like just E over the wall. If you can. Oh, is he? Okay, he runs around. He's not gonna E over the wall. Right? Really smart though. And of course it makes sense, right? Like you need to get flanked. You're getting outranged. And you don't have necessary engage tools. So what do we need? Well, either make sure they have to run into your range, so you being in position. They're stronger than you on mid, and they have Nash, so you can't do it, right? So then, you need to be able to make sure they have to run into your range, / come from behind. And getting a flank does both. So we either want to fix side and D, / hide somewhere, or set up a TP ward. We can't set up a TP ward right now, because it's really hard for us to move in. We also have Renata, so not a support that can easily rotate around the map. So really well done by BrokenBlade to secure his team basically the only really big way to potentially still win a fight. And now Deft just has a flash. Whoop. Ooh. I mean, BB nearly survives, but he gave his team so much space, so G2 is just allowed to get Nash. Not Nash, but Soul. Insanely well done by BrokenBlade. Insanely well done. G2 still gets wiped, but it's still Soul, and it's an insanely good Soul as you already talked about. Really good job by BB to understand what he needs to do, and also the way he does it. Just staying there, realizing you don't need to do anything. The only thing that matters here is your position. You're maintaining your position for the flank later on. By the way, this is horrible positioning by Deft, though. Like, this is honestly really horrible positioning by Deft. Why is Deft here? Wait, let me actually quickly go back. Why is Deft here? Okay, he did blue buff. Oh, and he's scared that BB's there. So he's trying to move in, but he can't. Yeah, well, he still should have just run around. It's still just really stupid. He also should just flash earlier, like he's really greedy. Deft is playing really greedily around this flash here. I guess is Caps going for... No way Caps is going for Zonius, right? You're just going to get Cosmic Drive here for movement speed. Mitty one is still standing, yeah. I mean, G2 did mess up the Nash attempt, right? But this is why, if you're not like a really good team, not saying that G2 isn't a really good team, right? But if you're not a really good team, you play against Pokemon positions, you just fucking double herald mid. Yeah, you just place double heralds onto mid. Whatever. Whoop! Cap is not balanced. I mean, by the way, it's still Ocean Soul carrying, by the way. It's still obviously Ocean Soul carrying. Caps is already dead here. But he still kills Deft. This Orianna champion, man. This Orianna champion, man. Oh! Wait. Why is Darwin still playing that deep? And the reacting TP. We've been talking about it for like 20 minutes now, at least. It's finally here. Coming to you. And it turns out Poké musicians in a team fight really don't have the consistent damage to really deal with tanky targets. Yeah. Well. Now G2 can finally breathe a little bit again, although still, by the way, G2 got a lot of gold here, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean anything if you can't really get anything out of it. So all of these fights don't really put G2 in a winning position, in my opinion. But they put G2 in a position where they can hopefully contest Nash. Holy shit, man, that's so much damage. EV Pama on flank, by the way. EB is doing such an insane job in terms of position. I was about to flame him, but he still gets out, so it's fine. He loses DIEMdodo. It's not caster curse, it's like, it's coach curse. But Deft is so scared of BB, and rightfully so. It's an Ocean Soul Renekton. This champion does not die. Unless you just ult him. But do you really want to just commit ult onto Renekton like that? Probably not. Oh, G2 can just get out. Nice. We just set up through bot. Okay. We do 0-1-4 stars. Interesting that G2 instantly commits to 0-1-4, but makes a lot of sense. Because it's easier to enter here. And you're just faster there than like entering... Well, you're not necessarily faster, but it's still easier to enter as blue side from bot and river. When enemy team is first. I really hope that Kellin does not play as much of flank anymore. Like, you're gonna be fine if you just end up poking well enough. And actually, Yike can tank so much with Ocean Soul because he does have tools to really get into range to proc his Ocean Soul again with his Z. So you can actually tank so much damage. Oh? They find the engage? Oh, that's not really the best position you're in right now, though. That one just... DK just got out. Ooh! Orianna damage. DK is so split, though. Wait, this game is actually... Well, we actually have to slow it down. There's so much going on in fights. There's so much going in. The damage. The damage. I know G2 wins, but I'm still... Wait, what the fuck happened? Nah, Cannon, stop going for flanks. Well, actually, well... Now, here it's actually fairly decent. No, I'm flaming Cannon for no fucking reason. It's fairly decent, actually. And it doesn't turn out that good, but it's actually fairly decent. It's actually fairly decent. It's actually okay. I didn't say shit, I'm very sorry. But you honestly, like if you really want to have the delusional opinion, losing Elder here doesn't necessarily mean you lose the game, I think. As long as Kellin is alive. Because I don't think G2 can just dive you like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ocean Soul plus Elder is enough, but I don't think it is. I don't think G2's minions without Nash are tanky enough for it to really matter. But now G2 is actually finally in a winning position again. How would I open from this? Wait, does G2 like not base? Oh yeah, it's G2. Okay. Honestly, by the way, cheesing here is really smart. Why is it really smart? Because without a cheese, you can't finish anyway. Like, it doesn't matter what you do with the Elder Dragon, in my opinion. Maybe you get T to top lane, right? Maybe. But T to top lane at that point doesn't really make that big of a difference in terms of gold anymore. So just staying here and just looking for the cheese is the best thing you can do, because otherwise you just have to wait until Nash anyway, in my opinion. Because otherwise you just don't have the tank enough minions to really push the push the base of DK, right? So really smart to just cheese, because it's not like you're gonna achieve anything on a map say like here anyway. Like it's really hard, no? How does G2 open? Let me quickly check. I need to just open 2 cams first. You take a few cams. When it's like a fairly decent, like it's a fairly standard 1-3-1 basically, right? Just with opening cams. Trying to make sure you get wave states in. Slash at least fix it. BB's insta basing and I'm probably opening towards mid lane. So G2 just shifts into like a 2-lane system from here. Playing top T2 with it. Sure. They also pressure another inhib. Which is all nice and all, right? And you for sure prioritize top lane inhib because you're playing for Nash, right? So all in all makes a lot of sense. Right, so maybe that is the reason why they open Orianna towards top lane, because they prioritize top lane inhib over bot lane. Plus they're still T2 top lane up, I guess. Oh? Wait, what the fuck is going on? You're fixing silence wave first. I wonder if BB just DPs onto from behind? No, I guess first you're gonna save your support. But otherwise, BB actually had a flank ward. But great. I don't know if DK really believes they're in a position where they need to insta-force, but insta-forcing here just does not seem like that good of an idea. Honestly, it's such a massive Ocean Soul diff. It's actually such a massive Ocean Soul diff. It's actually such a massive Ocean Soul diff. Like, you actually can't, you legitimately just can't kill them. Yeah, they can die for sure, yeah. Imagine, like, you're playing DK. You're actually playing the game fairly well, right? And then G2 just gets Ocean Soul here. Shit. Well, it's just unlucky. But to be fair, G2 had a really good early game. And honestly, G2's drafts has been really good as well, right? So, can't really even say too much. Otherwise, what do we learn from the game? First of all, the idea to commit into front to back makes a lot of sense. But don't forget that there's poke type of AD carries and poke types of top laner. I mean, maybe not as much with Jace, right? But the variant for sure was a good idea. And overall, committing into poke, if G2 is fairly low range, slash like medium range, you could argue, right? And front to back with very little engage tools, makes a lot of sense by the side of DK, right? So very smart by DK to go for these poke options, because while G2 committed into like sort of like kite back, sort of like outrange, with like medium against like Alistair and whatever, like medium range. Well, if you pick high range, then G2 is in a fairly bad position. Another thing to note is, it turns out Alistair blind pick not that good if a team decides to not pick Nautilus. If a team does not decide to just pick Nautilus or Rel, maybe the Alistair blind pick is not the best. Because as we saw that game, Alistair was really useless. Like, outside of the one fight. Other than that, what did G2 do well this game? I mean, they did a fairly good job, especially in terms of top lane. What the fridge? Alistair weak against range supports? Yeah, it's crazy, actually, right? I honestly believe the biggest carry this game was BB, because he had really good flanks. Really well done flanks. And the main reason why G2 even got Ocean Soul is because BB had such a nice flanker to Deft and ended up catching him. And creating so much time and space for his team to just rush Ocean Soul at the time. So for me, MVP definitely BrokenBlade. 100%. Does anyone have any questions about that game? I know I just talked a huge amount. Does anyone have any questions about that game? I'm still a little bit washed up, so please excuse that. But with worlds going deeper and deeper, I will try to get better and better at reviewing again. At least in terms of explaining. and trying to show you a little bit about how I learn, right? Never taking anything for granted and really trying to think about what you really learned from that specific game. It doesn't seem like there are any questions in the Twitch chat. Okay, never mind. Maybe. Why does Mao have Shadow Flame? Well, actually, good question. Wait, what? I didn't see it actually. That's Alpha's. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. He bought it for the item? Maybe he thought about Rabadons and he was only able to finish that item. Maybe he actually thought about just going Rabadons, but he wasn't able to finish any other item. Maybe that is the reason for it, actually. I mean, surely Teacup is used as well. I have no idea, actually. Like, usually for me, it's... You finish your 2 items on tank, / like 3 items if you go for like 1 AP item. And then afterwards, you just go... Zonius must be 10x? Nah, you never go Zonius here. I feel like Zonius is complete use of this game. I think you just go support items if you really need anything. Like for me, after 2 tank items, you just go support items. You just go Redemption. If you have high HP values, you can go Zekis, like these sort of items. Shadowflame gives some HP, so he gets like plus 5 AP on his demonic. Yeah. Thank you for the input. Okay, doesn't seem like there are any questions about the game. Otherwise, thank you very much for viewing if you're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, check out the link to my Twitch channel in the video description and check out my Twitter and Discord to see when I go live. Also, in case you're interested in coaching, you can find more information on my Discord as well. Also, I'm looking for a team for 2024. So hit me up in case you're looking for coaching stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and hopefully see you in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.